Okay, so Bitcoin, it's one of those things, right? You hear about it everywhere.
Yeah.
But like actually explaining it, that's a whole other story.
Right.
But that's exactly what we're doing today. We're going deep on Bitcoin. I've been digging into Digital Gold by Nathaniel Popper, and
Oh,
it's
great, good.
seriously fascinating. And by the end of this deep dive, no more head scratching.
I like these.
You'll actually get it, like what it is, where it came from, all that.
Sounds good.
So, first things first, what is Bitcoin? Think about it like this. You know how with like the US dollar, it's the government that's in charge.
Yeah, they back it.
Right, exactly. But Bitcoin, totally different. Imagine instead of one big authority, there's this huge e-network of computers all over the world. And they're all working together to keep track of every Bitcoin transaction. No one person, no one bank, no one government is calling the shots. It's what they call decentralized.
And that's a big part of what drew people to it, especially in the beginning. That idea of a financial system that wasn't tied to, governments or those big institutions.
Yeah, it's kind of like a financial system that's as unstoppable as the internet itself.
Right.
Now think about this. Remember when things used to cost like a nickel and now it's what, $5 for the same
Yeah,
thing?
inflation? Yeah.
Exactly, inflation. And it's because governments can just print more money, whatever. But with Bitcoin, it's built differently. They set it up so there can only ever be 21 million Bitcoins. That's it.
Yep. That fixed supply is key. Like it's supposed to be like gold, how it's scarce, so it keeps its value. Bitcoin's designed to do the same thing.
So, okay, if you can't just print more Bitcoin, where do they come from? This is where things get a little, I don't know, mysterious. It's called mining, but it's not like digging in the dirt. Picture it like a global puzzle-solving contest. People all over the world, they're using these super powerful computers to solve incredibly complex math problems. And whoever cracks the code first, bam, they get rewarded with Bitcoin.
And that whole process, that's actually what helps keep the Bitcoin network secure. Because it's not just one computer doing it, it's this whole decentralized network. It's like really hard to mess with that.
Right, right. Okay, and then remember that whole public ledger thing, the blockchain?
Oh, yeah.
It's like a giant digital record of every Bitcoin transaction, every hour. Anyone can see it. But here's the cool part. Let's say I want to send you, I don't know, 50 Bitcoins.
Okay.
The blockchain records the transaction, but it doesn't show our names, our addresses, any of that. So it's like a digital envelope that protects everyone's privacy.
And for a lot of the early Bitcoin folks, that privacy was huge, especially if they were, worried about data collection and all that. They saw Bitcoin as a way to be in control of their own financial information.
It's kind of like digital cash in a way, right? But we'll get into some of the not so great ways that anonymity can be used a little later.
Yeah, definitely.
But so far, I mean, what's striking you about all this?
Well, I think it's pretty amazing how this whole system, this technology, just kind of came together.
It really is.
And took off like it did.
Yeah.
It definitely tapped into something people were looking for.
For sure.
At that time.
Absolutely. You know, it's crazy to think that this whole thing, started with just a few people.
It really is.
Who had this vision, this idea.
Right.
And then it just exploded. And speaking of those visionaries.
Yeah.
We got to talk about the people behind Bitcoin, the ones who actually made it happen. Because every good story needs its heroes, right?
Definitely. And with Bitcoin, I mean, there's no one more mysterious than the creator, Satoshi Nakamoto.
Satoshi, such a legend. To this day, nobody knows for sure who they are. Like, was it one person, a whole team of supercoders, maybe an AI from the future?
Right, and that just adds to the whole decentralization thing.
Oh, totally.
Like, it's this creation that doesn't have one single face, one single leader.
It's like Satoshi wanted to make sure Bitcoin belonged to everyone,
I think there's something to that.
Okay, but even genius ideas need the right moment to shine. So, picture this. It's 2008. The financial crisis is hitting everyone hard. And out of nowhere comes this 9-page document explaining Bitcoin. At first, people were like, what is this thing?
Totally.
So Satoshi had to kind of reframe it. They started talking about how Bitcoin could protect people from this economic uncertainty.
And it's funny how those big disruptive ideas, they often meet with that initial resistance, right?
True.
Like, think about the internet itself.
Or even just like personal computers. People thought that was crazy at first.
Exactly.
Anyway, back to Bitcoin. Even geniuses need help sometimes.
Of course.
So there's this guy, Martti Malmi. He was a college student in Finland, and he stumbled across Bitcoin and was like, whoa, woo! He contacted Satoshi and became a core developer, like really helped make it easier for everyday people to use.
He was super important in those early days.
It's like this global community just kind of formed around this idea.
It really is fascinating.
Okay, and then there's Roger Ver, Bitcoin Jesus, as some people call him. He was one of the first big believers.
Oh, yeah, an early investor.
He put his money where his mouth was, and he really saw Bitcoin not just as an investment, but as like the future of money.
He was one of the biggest voices, like, promoting Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And that was huge for its growth. Got people talking, got them excited.
He was like a Bitcoin evangelist, spreading the word. And then as Bitcoin started getting more attention, Wences Caceres saw the potential to shake things up in the whole financial world. He was all about connecting the crypto world with like Wall Street and those traditional institutions.
He saw that if Bitcoin was going to become mainstream, it needed to find a way to work within the existing financial systems.
It's like he was building a bridge between those two worlds.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so we've got these brilliant minds, true believers, but Bitcoin's journey hasn't been all sunshine and roses. There's been some drama along the way, some cautionary tales that show even the coolest technology can be affected by, human stuff.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like, remember how we talked about how Bitcoin is super secure? Well, it turns out it's a little more complicated than that. The technology itself might be solid, but the platforms and the people using it...
Not always so much.
Not always so much.
Yeah.
For example, there was this exchange called Mt. Gox. It was the biggest Bitcoin exchange in the world. Like, everyone was using it. And then, bam, they got hacked, lost tons of Bitcoins, went bankrupt.
That was a huge wake-up call for the whole community.
It showed that even in this decentralized world, things can go wrong big time. Okay, and then things get even crazier.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the Silk Road?
Oh, yeah.
This online marketplace where you could buy anything, literally anything, all powered by Bitcoin because it was anonymous, untraceable. I mean, on the one hand, it shows how powerful this technology is, how it can create this whole new economy outside of the traditional system.
Right, you can see that side of it.
But then there was a lot of illegal activity happening there, which brought up a lot of ethical questions.
Definitely.
Okay, and then there's BitInstant. They had this vision of buying Bitcoin super easy, like buying a cup of coffee.
It was the goal.
But their leadership made some, let's say, not so great choices, and the whole thing collapsed.
A real shame.
It just goes to show that even in this fast-moving world of crypto, ethics, and responsible leadership, they still matter.
Absolutely. You can't get away from that.
So we've seen the good, the bad, the brilliant, and the messy. What are you thinking about this whole journey Bitcoin's been on?
Yeah, it's been quite the ride.
Right. From like these obscure online forums to now where it feels like everyone's talking about Bitcoin. It's definitely made its mark.
Definitely.
But okay, before we get too lost in the future,
yeah,
let's just take a minute, recap what we've covered.
Okay.
So we started by figuring out what Bitcoin even is. A decentralized digital currency, no one in control.
Right.
And designed to like fight back against inflation.
And we talked about mining. That whole complicated process of solving those math problems.
Well, it's for computers, yeah.
Creates new Bitcoins. AND keeps the network secure.
And then the whole privacy thing.
Right. How it can be good.
Good and bad.
Exactly.
And then those people. Right. Satoshi, the mystery man.
Or woman. Or group.
Or AI. Who knows?
Exactly.
But then Roger Ver really pushing Bitcoin early on.
A true believer.
And Wences Caceres trying to bring it into the mainstream.
Bridging that gap.
But then there were those dark moments, too. Mt. Gox getting hacked.
A big set.
Yeah. Silk Road and those ethical questions.
Yeah.
BitInstant, just a mess.
It all just goes to show, even with revolutionary technology, you can't escape
the human element. So, knowing all this now, I mean, what do you think? Where's Bitcoin going from here? Is this the future of money?
I mean, who knows, right?
Yeah.
It's such a young technology.
That's true.
But it's definitely started a huge conversation.
It has.
About money, about technology, about trust.
Yeah, like even if Bitcoin itself doesn't become the thing, it's changed how we think about all that.
Completely. Yeah. It's pushed the boundaries.
And, I think that's pretty incredible.
Absolutely.
And hey, now you're part of that conversation.
You're in the know.
You get it. You can form your own opinions.
Yeah. Think critically.
And that's what this is all about, right?
Absolutely. Keep learning, keep exploring.
Exactly. Until next time, keep diving deep.